setting boundaries is often one of the things that really trips up even the best leader. Do you find it difficult to set boundaries in your workplace, with certain people in your workplace, in the hierarchy that you're involved with, or in your community or in your family life? What are those thoughts? What are those things that come to mind when you go, I'm going to set this boundary in place? What often happens is we go, oh, but I can't do that. It was like, what will they think of me? I was like, oh, but I don't want to let those people down. Or I've always done it like this. And I was like, I can't change now. All of these things is part of our BS, part of those belief systems that get in the way of us becoming our congruent, authentic selves and becoming an authentic leader going forward. We have to, we must be able to have that skill of setting boundaries. So what is it about? What is going to help you to set these boundaries going forward? Okay, so we need to look at what is the meaning that we're giving to that word boundaries. What is a boundary to me? Sometimes we think of boundaries as a confinement, as a restriction, as a rule, as a blockage. Then if we see it like that, we will never be able to set boundaries and move through it with expansion and recognizing where we're going from here. So the first thing is to embrace the meaning of the word boundary as something that enhances. A boundary enhances. It enhances clarity. It enhances the ability for people to work within it. It enhances the ability to know where people stand, what's expected of myself and of others. And within that enhancement, then we can see and recognize what happens next. It is an empowering thing to set a boundary. It is empowering for myself and for others. It is one of those things that it's like, okay, this is the boundary here. And we get to decide, you get to decide how firm that boundary is. Sometimes it might be a little bit like a dotted line. So it's a boundary in this instance. However, there are certain moments or certain people or certain things that could actually cross that line. We get to decide this. And it all starts with what we think is a boundary in the first place. So setting a boundary, once we recognize that it's to enhance going forward, we are then more likely to be able to set a boundary. The next part of it is about the empowering phrases that we use. So instead of setting a boundary on the negative, like I can't do this, this won't happen, that's not able to be done. So that's setting a boundary using negative language and disempowering language. We choose empowering language. I can do this. This can be done by this date. We go here and then we can go there. And so you're setting these boundaries in place by using affirmative, empowering language going forward. Within this, we also need to give ourselves permission. Have you given yourself permission to say no? Permission to say no. What does that word elicit for you? Often when we work with people, they go, I can say no? Like a question, is it all right? Is it okay to do that? Within the ability to set boundaries, it's about recognizing and giving yourself permission to say no. And still having faith and believing that and trusting yourself that I'm okay when I say no. I'm okay with setting a boundary in place. It is good to set boundaries. They are to enhance understanding. They are not there as a blockage. They are not there as a boundary that is insurpassable. They are not there to trip people up. They are not there to restrict. They are there to enhance and create. So practicing saying no. One of the ways I learned to practice saying no was around the small things. It was like, would you like a cup of tea or coffee? And I was like, no thanks. I said no. I was beginning to practice that whole ability to say no. Would you like to come out for dinner on that day? I can make that day. Would that work for you? So I'm setting a boundary. The other day was busy. The other day I had something planned. I don't need to explain. I don't need to describe. I don't need to justify myself or my decisions. I don't need to apologize. Do not apologize for being who you be. I can, boom, boom, boom. Would that work? I set a boundary. I said no. I created a way forward to enhance and to create clarity. So when you're thinking about setting boundaries, you get to practice to choose to say no. You get to practice to say, I can do it by Friday at 3 o'clock. If they go, can you do this now? This needs to be done by the end of the day. I can do it by midday tomorrow. Full stop. No apology. No justification. I can do it then. Because let's face it, your time is your time. It is precious to you, number one. And when you step into that, when you give yourself that permission to go, I get to choose how my time is invested. Not them, not they, not the rules, not things out there. I get to choose how I invest my time. Then you give yourself permission to say no. You can then practice starting with the little things. And if you want to develop the skill of setting boundaries without all the other BS in the way, then contact me. I have a space for coaching and development. And I can walk you through the ways to develop boundaries within your workplace, your life, your sporting prowess, your community life, in any area of your life, to create those enhancing, empowering boundaries for you that create that incredible clarity for those around you as well.